There's something so freeing about just jumping on a piece of wood with 4 wheels and hitting the streets. And for me, and for a lot of people, that journey all started with the one and only Birdman.
No, that one. Tony Hawk. The man is a legend for a good reason, and not only in the gaming sphere.
Remember this place?
The man was the first skater to land a 900-degree spin, and also the first man to make Dan Grucci from Slow Mo Guys shit himself from falling.
Did you fart on the way down?
Probably. But apart from the recent remakes of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 Pro Skaters, have you not noticed that the Birdman's kind of all but disappeared from the video game scene?
So what happened? Why was Tony Hawk so special to gaming? Why did his games disappear? And why did it mean so much? Well, join me, and me, and me.
Not me. I'm doing a poo.
I can show you my shit. As we kickflip and 50-50 grind into what happened to we can't do that, can we? What happened to Tony Hawk games? Chapter 1. Tony Hawk? Picture the scene. It's 1982. Italy have just won the World Cup. Michael Jackson has just released the album Thriller. The Falklands is a firework factory, and Ronald Reagan declares a war on plant life.
Marijuana, pot, grass, whatever you want to call it, is probably the most dangerous drug in the United States.
I mean, Reagan's 100% right. Weed is no joke. It took my granddad from me. I still have the last picture of him before he died. In hindsight, I really should have tried to help him.
1982, where a young skateboarder who just made his debut a year prior on Captain Kangaroo has just gone pro at the age of 14.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Audio Rody. Today we are playing...
You know, they say that comparison is the thief of joy, and let me tell you something, this teen is making waves in the skate scene. What was that? With official sponsors, including the likes of Powell Peralta, Tracker, and Sundeck. At the age of only 16, showing that this young man was destined to make waves in the skate scene. And when I say waves, I mean... Enter Anthony Frank Hawk, a household name even today. The legacy that this would-be legend would have on the world, not just in the realm of skateboarding, but in the realm of video games, movies, and other pop culture media, would be unlike any other skater. I've tried 5 times to do this line. I'm not doing it again.
Just try and name one professional skateboarder that isn't Tony Hawk or anybody who's ever been affiliated with Tony Hawk. I'm willing to bet you can't.
Those bikes, Kyle?
He is also the reason that as a kid I learned to skate. And let me tell you something, I still got it. Oh, I'm a wizard shit. Whilst Tony Hawk was making waves across the real-life skate scene over in the arcades, Sega's top skater was dick flipping and flip dipping into people's wallets, and Activision was watching and went...
Oh my word. Somebody's making money.
Activision saw this as an opportunity to take their own slice of skater pie, which I can only imagine would be full of like trucks and wheels and like just an unholy amount of back sweat. As the earliest version of the game came together using a Neversoft engine previously used for the PS1 Slam Classic Apocalypse with Bruce Willis.
The apocalypse is coming, but not until Bruce Willis comes.
Honey, I'm coming. Using Bruce Willis's character model being used to demo the flip-flops and dip-dop-dippities, what? By the time the game was ready, Activision needed a hook. Somebody to send this new arcade skate experience to the home.
I propose that we get this guy here, Tony Hawk. He does like loads of flicks and dick spins or whatever. I don't really know anything about it, but my son refers to it as off the hook tight, which I'm told is a good thing. I think I picked up the wrong notes here.
In 1999, Tony Hawk was attached, and Activision, being Activision, tried to give Tony Hawk a one-off license fee for his name and likeness, to which, quite rightly, the Birdman said, "Fuck your own face!" Tony Hawk, being the good guy that he is, didn't only accept this little cut on behalf of himself, but on behalf of all of the skaters that were involved in the game. Skaters like Bob Burnquist, Kareem Campbell, Bucky Lazak, Officer Dick. Not that last one. He's not real. I'm so sorry to break it to you like this. Neither is Santa or the Easter Bunny. The game was slated for release in September, but before that, in the summer of 1999, Tony Hawk landed the first ever 900 spin. What's it called? And the devs added that to the game with one of the world's most iconic sound effects. Oh, that broke. Come the release of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, within the first 3 months of the game being out, it sold 360,000 copies. It smashed into critical acclaim, and by 2001, it sold... Whoa! Did somebody say, "Here comes the money"? By this point, Tony Hawk had made over double in royalties what he was promised as a one-time payment fee from Activision, and whoever negotiated that, I hope somebody got paid for this blunder. As awesome as it would be for the joke to be on Activision, however, it really wasn't. Because this first game was so successful that Activision launched into annual releases for the next 8 years for the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater franchise. And I will tell you just how much money Activision made from the Tony Hawk venture just a little bit later on. But why the hell was this game series so successful? And was this tiny spinning disc of data influential at all on the real world? Well, I mean, yes. But to answer the first thing, we need to go to Chapter 2, The Birds and the PS1. There's a reason that this version of me got so into skateboarding, and it's because of everything that bleeds from the tenets of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And you've got to start with the music. It all starts with the first game, but the most consistently brilliant thing to come from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is its soundtrack. Every single game has some incredible tracks to blast around on 4 wheels to. Now, you already know that I can't show you any of these tracks properly because copyright exists, and my channel is so big I can't afford to lose any money on it. So instead I prepared this for you.
Andrew McCarthy is interested in more than just a good...
The whole project.
I'm sorry. And on the subject of sound, the sound in this game is just so good. Now, I'm no asthma enthusiast. I actually super hate having asthma. But everything from the sounds of to the sounds of even the sounds of is beyond satisfying. It's orgasmic. That was awful. The diversity in the levels with interactive map elements bouncing around a warehouse 1 minute to a school the next minute. The game modes, the diversity of challenges, the collectibles, the unlocks. All of this, by the way, was in the first release, which directly leads to the release of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, which in turn directly influenced this version of me. When I used to turn up and skate on ramps like this at this height, which was ridiculous because what was wrong with me? I used to get called Mini Tony Hawk, and you know something? Those guys are probably in their 40s now. I did not skate like Tony Hawk though. Like at all. Everything that made Tony Hawk's Pro Skater good is just as present in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, and then some. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 had the advances of graphics with things like draw distance, larger levels, better frame rate. It had better controls that felt way more tight and responsive, and Tony Hawk looked less like a...
Hello, Harry, it's me, Hagrid.
I don't need to tell you that it was a success. but it super was.
And with a new generation came Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, which was once again critically acclaimed for transitioning Tony Hawk from the world of the 64-bit era to the at least 100 on the PlayStation 2.
Neversoft doubled down on the challenges, the tricks, the characters, the sound, the music, everything has elevated to the next level. But despite matching the review scores of Grand Theft Auto 3 and being honored with awards for its animation and visual engineering, this is when people start to say,
now, whilst all of these ingredients do make for an incredibly satisfying dish, we have had this recipe 3 times in a row now, so we were thinking it would be nice to have a little bit of diversity and not just the same ingredients with a new coat of paint.
critics and players are well within their right to ask for more. I mean, imagine enjoying the same thing with a new coat of paint every year for the same price. It's 2002 and Nickelback are top of the charts, and this is how you remind me of not the same thing again. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 completely Indy 900s over the career mode of the previous 3 games. Instead of having a timer and having to rerun the same level over and over and over again until you complete all the challenges, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 now says,
you can skate as much as you want, but if you want to come and have a sandwich or a drink, I'll be over here on this picnic on this blanket with this big exclamation mark above my head.
Now the career mode was a hybrid between free skate and the aforementioned career mode. Exploration is rewarded massively in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, or for short, with certain areas that can only be accessed with trick exploration, like the terrifying horror house on Carnival, and also the gator in the reeds, also on Carnival.
This scared me to no ends as a kid. It didn't honestly take much to scare me as a kid. For example, this scared me. And this scared me. And this scared me. Honestly, it's something that I might revisit for a future video if people are interested. I was a very frightened child.
This game also introduced sketching, which, I mean, I'm not going to say the video games directly influenced me in trying it. I'm not going to say that.
Put the hammer down a bit. Oh shit.
Celebrity cameos, great music, great levels. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 is where Tony Hawk really solidified its identity. But in my opinion, has the weakest Neversoft intro. Like seriously, a monkey on a skateboard. Like come on Neversoft, where's my terrifying eye man? Where's my runaway eye? Get it together. Yeah, remember when I told you about the things that scared me as a kid? Well, allow me to show you how I tread the Neversoft intro on Tony Hawk's Underground every time it booted up. Underground, or Thug, for maximum tube points, is the first of the series to have a story mode, further building on the previous game's idea of free skating and also tweakers on street corners.
It's just like real life.
America has a fat law crisis.
The story mode is pretty basic, but don't let that take away from how much fun it is and how much of a breath of fresh air it was, especially at the time. Real life towns as maps, actual cutscenes for the story, which
You the guy my skaters have been talking about?
yeah, dude, that is me, the human skateboarder you've heard all about. But hey, featured in the story itself are pro skaters, including...
Whoa, not bad. Where are you from?
It's the Maine, it's the bird Maine. The performances of which are leagues above the modern era of NBA. So take some notes, Shaquille O'Neal.
Sponsorship from Stacy Peralta. Stacy Peralta? I know that dude. He was my first sponsor too back in the 80s. Is he still into yoga? That's one weird dude.
We all have that attitude. The train will be rolling in no time. Let's do it.
There's some quality moments in this game, and having a story adds plenty to the game's experience. From tricking over a helicopter in Hawaii, to the rags to riches story, crashing a tank in Russia, punching this twat right in the face and then disappearing to a a Kiss concert. Tony Hawk's Underground genuinely felt like, to me, the best entry in the series. And then they made a second one.
Hello, butt nugget. Damn it, man, the tire jack's ripped right up my... Bring it on, bitch! Wheel of Loogie. Carry the warm.
Critics found this one less endearing somehow.
The influence of Jackass and Bam Margera by extension are on full display here, at least as far as the story goes. But as far as gameplay is concerned, this thing feels like the quintessential Tony Hawk skate experience.
Despite all of this, it was nominated to be part of the Smithsonian Art of Video Game display, losing out only to Shadow of the Colossus. Did you see I just nearly wrapped it and died?
This game literally has a character called Nigel P. Beaverhausen. Critics didn't take to the story and felt that it was too short, but aesthetically, the game was incredibly well received. Notably, for Activision at least, this is where sales... Oh! And unfortunately, this trend would continue into their next release, American Wasteland. A game that was generally received well, but the challenge felt completely on this time around, with critics calling this game shockingly easy. Critics also cited a lack of evolution on the previous entries, but on the other side, the story was praised with characters you can genuinely grow to like once again. Now, what I said about a lack of evolution, how far can you really innovate on the skateboarding formula?
Yes, the kickflip we've seen 1,000 times before. It's getting old hat, old boy. People are getting bored. Can't you do something new?
For sure. The drop-off was significant and very clear to see. So why?
Despite the series trying to innovate with entries like Project 8 and Proving Ground, the numbers really do tell the story. Which brings us on to
Chapter 3! Where did everybody go? So what actually changed? Well, with any successful series comes a bunch of people looking to capitalize on your success. The rise and success of Tony Hawk as a skating game came the rise of series like Shaun White, Dave Mirra, Matt Hoffman, Skate, Free Running, and a whole bunch of others that gave us what is known as oversaturation.
And you know what they say, oversaturation is what killed Margaret Thatcher.
Then there were the later games. Oh boy. This is when Tony Hawk really started to get shaky on its trucks.
You see, that's good writing because it's like a broken skateboard. Oh.
The gimmicks. Not only gimmicks, but gimmicks that don't even work. Later games even failed reviving the series through the tried and true method of nostalgia. We talked a lot on this channel about remakes before, and when you already have the grounds for something fantastic and it's a layup and all you had to do was put the ball in the basket, how then do you take the ball and drop kick it into the next stadium? All of this soup of absolute tripe is what would land us eventually. This game went about as well as a child wearing jeans on a slide. This entry in the series is so fresh in the memory, I don't really need to tell you why it's bad. But here are the reviews anyway. But how sad that the reason this was shouted out wasn't for love, wasn't for passion, wasn't for the love of the game, wasn't for Tony Hawk, but because the license was gonna run out and the publisher wanted one more stab at a dead horse.
I mean, it was worth a try, right?
And that, my dear friends, is how Tony Hawk died. The game series, I mean, not the Birdman. He's still very proudly telling the story of how he made Dan Grucci from the Slow-Mo Guys shit himself. That wasn't a joke. Here's the clip.
His feet missed the board when he went in.
He just did. He shit his pants.
That's the last healthy part of him being like, I'm out of this fucking clown.
And so the series died with a whimper after severely shitting the bed. So what came next? Well, we know what came next, don't we? The remake. The remake was fantastic, and I had an opportunity to play it early thanks to the company that I worked for at the time, and I'm not gonna lie, I fell in love again. So when the remake was a massive success, some were hoping it would pave the way for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 6. A new entry that respected the series' origins whilst paving a way for some new entries in the series, ushering in a new approach. Nope, never mind.
And so would become the fate of the Tony Hawk series. It would become just another nostalgia cash cow for Activision. And who can really blame them? Remember near the beginning of the video when I mentioned just how much money Activision made from the Tony Hawk license? Take a look at this.
With a combined sales number across the whole franchise of around 41,850,000, the franchise made Activision over $1.4 billion.
It's easy money because suckers like you and me are going to buy it. Remember, because it's from the good old days. Back in the days of cholera and women knowing their place. But wouldn't it be great to get something new, something fresh?
A game that takes the best of the original trilogy, the innovation of the fourth, and spins a story that matters. Maybe about Tony himself, about his life as a skater, each chapter trying to tell the story of his journey as a pro skater.
I don't know. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I take great pleasure in reading every comment, whether it's positive, random, or bad. It's just great to have the engagement and have a platform here where we can talk. So please do leave a comment, even if it just says egg. It helps the channel a lot. What else helps the channel is a like if you enjoyed the video, and a subscription, which helps the channel grow. Also, if you want to go that extra leg, you can share the video, it's free, or you can hit the button in the description. It's Patreon. You can support me financially so that I can do more stupid stuff right here on YouTube. Thank you so very much for watching. I've been Stag, you've been fantastic. You can find these shirts and stuff on my Patreon too. I think that's about it. Anything else will be on the screen around me. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Bye.